First story. My GF of almost 6 years cheated on me because I became depressed. She denied it till the very end. I'm gonna try to be short with the story because a lot happened and focus on the signs. So, last December she was depressed because she found out that her mother cheated several times on her father, and she manipulated her against her father in the end. In the meanwhile she lost all her jobs, so her self-esteem got a big hit. She never had much confidence because of her childhood anyway. In the meantime I became depressed too because of a good friend of mine. He hurt himself badly and it was my fault. Had to work on my self-image. It was hard. So as it turns out she is the type of woman who can't live without male attention. We are in the fitness industry, so yeah, no shit. I couldn't listen to her problems properly because of my depression, and she thought I must be cheating. I surely don't care, all that bullcrap. Then in January she got an opportunity from a small supplement brand. I thought to myself, why? Because she just posting pics of herself and her body, but she has no achievements. Me on the other hand, a several-time champion in bodybuilding. I told her I think the man just tries to get to her. After their first meeting it was clear as day that it is the case, but I trusted her, because in my mind if I couldn't bring myself to cheating on her, then she wouldn't too. I mean almost 6 years together, and our relationship was great up until our depression. Then in February they have met again, because of the contract. I didn't think much first, but after this day we had sex, as usually, and she couldn't look me in my eyes. Oh yeah, worth to mention the guy is a 50 years old man, with some money. He got a Tesla, wow, and we are in our 20s. The man obviously does this to other young girls too. It was easy to see, for me at least. So, after their second meeting our sex life became shallow. I could tell she doesn't desire me anymore, and her excuse was all the time her depression. We still had sex, but it was shallow. And before that we fucked like pornsters and we had a burning passion all the time. As time went by, I realized she is very protective of her phone. I confronted her. She started to gaslight me, of course. Then their third meeting was underway. It was a business trip to our home country to get 2 new members involved, and her job was to translate to the man, since he doesn't speak our language. This is when things became extremely odd. First she told me the man is going to take her. I always took care of her and tried to help her wherever I could, so it was odd. She said they are going to sleep in a motel, to which I replied no fucking way. Then she tried to say things like it's going to be so tiring, I don't want to go, etc. I took 2 days off my job so I can take her. Then it became clear something is very fishy. Because she asked me numerous times where I'm going to be and what I'm going to do during their meeting. I wasn't allowed to come since I'm not a sponsored athlete. At this point I thought to myself, alright, fine. Let's go with it, at least if she cheats I'm going to know. So on their way to the small city she texted me, etc. On their way back to the capital, a trip took at least 20 minutes longer, and she was away for an hour. At this moment I knew. After they met the second person, she told me I should pick her up but we should eat something. She was acting all strange and nervous, and the man gave me enough signs to understand too what was going on. We slept at her auntie. She went to take a bath right after. The next day she was annoyed with me, I guess because of her guilt. Her auntie was extremely nice to me like never before. Her mother has a history with cheating too. She always had a very bad opinion about her mother because of this. So as they were discussing her mother, she said if you love someone else, you should told your partner and not cheat on them. Guilt again, I guess. So we went home after all this. I told her the guy is very sneaky and manipulative, to which she became extremely defensive. So I told her she either tells me what's going on or I kick her out. She told me she loves him and not me anymore. It was devastating to say the least. I stood by this gal in all the bad. She has many childhood traumas. I helped right in the relationship with her father, etc. She denied that she had sex with him, and told me she wasn't getting any attention from me, but he gave her attention. made her feel special and important. In this moment I didn't know what to say. I asked her if she only has a crush, does she want to repair the relationship? I asked her this 3 times, didn't answer. I went to my parents' house, and later texted her she should pack her stuff, to which she begged me to come home and even threatened with suicide, because she hurts everyone. I was heartbroken, devastated, never felt like this. She was my first love. After 3 days of just talking and not sleeping, I told her if she didn't sleep with him, we should give to us another chance. Then I started to ask questions. First, she even denied she found him attractive or was sexually attracted to him. I told her she should show me the text messages if she only talked with him about her feelings and problems. She didn't want to show me. I told her I can hack her phone. Then she became frozen. So I started to ask more questions throughout the 3 weeks we were still together. And slowly I came to realize every cheater lies all the time. She gave 2 different answers all the time to the same questions. We had sex after this, and she did something new which I never asked of her, so it became clearer every day. She kept blaming me because I didn't listen to her. She kept saying nothing has happened between them. She told the other man they have to end everything, to which the dude sent her a like symbol and blocked her everywhere. We were discussing about this dude. She became angry and cursed at him with these words, "Small-dicked asshole." When I asked why would she say something like that, first she told me because she was angry. Then a day later I asked again, then she told me this is something which I and my mother are saying, we never curse at someone with this kind of bullcrap. Throughout the 3 weeks she tried to manipulate me with having kids, and some other nasty things. She told me she was afraid she has to go back home, where she would make a very small amount of money. So it was clear as a day. She uses me for stability. She thought something better came along and was ready to jump at it. Worth to mention, at the beginning of our relationship, when things were a little bit shaky, I caught her talking to another dude in a flirty way. I confronted her, she ignored him. Now that we are separated, they have contact again. Why? Because the dude works in another country too and could provide more for her. So in conclusion, it is clear as a day she cheated. The road trip took longer. She took a shower right after that and did something new during sex. And of course all the manipulation, gaslighting, planning, sleeping in hotel, then asking numerous times where I'm going to be during their meetings. She denied it of course till the very end, but I dropped her. I started to hate myself to trying to forgive something like that. She showed me her true colors. It took almost 6 years, but here we go. I'm still healing, but at least I feel contempt to her, and want to have nothing to do with her. Oh, and after our breakup she contacted the man a day later. The man dropped his woman since then. I wish her good luck. Doubt it's going to be long, since the man is old, career-oriented, and after the honeymoon phase she won't get the recognition she wants. But that's only my opinion. Update. I made a post about the story, but here's a question. So my ex-GF and her seem-to-be new man got together by both cheating on their partners. Will their relationship last? Worth to mention, the guy is a 50-years-old dude with money. My ex-GF is impulsive. The man has a lot of young girls around him, and it seemed like he doesn't give a damn about his now ex-GF. I guess he does this regularly. Comes something new he jumps. My GF doesn't speak his language well, so that's a barricade too, and the age gap is 20 years. I think it's going to end up badly. I will enjoy it, but what are your thoughts? They were still with their partners when they started to chat, meet and plan everything out with each other. So they doesn't really know each other well. And their relationship is based on just that, lying, deception, manipulation, etc. Update. Was my ex-GF a narcissist? So long story short, I met this girl when I was 26 right now. We broke up because she cheated with a much older dude who has money. People since told me she was never liked by anyone. She always handled criticism in her workplaces with crying, and never really worked hard, but she always had these big dreams. At the beginning of our relationship, we had of course some hard times getting used to each other. Because it worked with her so fast, sex was getting better by the day. We moved together very quickly. So when we had our bad moments at the beginning, I caught her chatting with another dude who happened to work in a different country just as I do, where you can much more money. I confronted her, and if I look back, she blamed me because I wasn't giving her attention and she needed to talk to someone. It was a one-time occasion, so I thought to myself, alright. Through the years I realized that she has a very low self-esteem. She never had any friends, or if she had, she still talked bad about everyone. Even in her work she was gossiping all the time. I think it worth to mention our sex life got fantastic through the years. There was no taboos. She even wanted to take in another girl because she wanted to please me. Fast forward, I became depressed and she looked for attention somewhere else, and she fall in love with an older dude with money, financial gain again. Then I saw her true colors: manipulative, gaslighting, etc. Now if I look back, she couldn't handle any criticism, always talked shit about everyone else, everyone was dumb, and a nut job to her, especially another woman. And she was extremely jealous, even if I just talked to another woman. She always had jobs in the range of 20 to 25 hours, couldn't really keep them, and was never satisfied. But she never tried to improve herself, learn some new skills, or just some new degree. Always craved for attention, always asked me questions even years later if I love her, if I find her pretty, things like that. And I remember it happened more than once, that she tried to convince me I remember things wrong. It didn't happen like that, or she never said that. Also, I remember at the beginning she told me things like she never loved anyone like me. She just saw me and was constantly in love, and stuff like that. Never had an orgasm. Based on her skills back then, I believe it to be true though. She learned everything from me. But she was love bombing me, I guess. All the things she told me made me feel like a very special someone. Basically all my friends, even my sister, hated her guts. At the end I saw myself too. Why? Is she a narc? What do you guys think? Oh, in the very end where I caught her cheating, she did all the nasty stuff, deny, manipulating, even with suicide, gaslighting, and blame shifting. In her head it was my fault. Update. Before my GF cheated I was a stud, who was able to have sex for hours. Will it be the same with time? So, long story short, my ex-GF cheated. I'm the type of guy who finds pleasure if his partner enjoys sex beyond else. It makes me feel a good lover, and a real man. But now, 2 weeks after the breakup, I don't even desire sex. Or if I do, I'm afraid I won't be the old me, who is capable of satisfying his partner. Every girl I was with enjoyed sex with me very much, but somehow this experience makes me question everything. My ex didn't cheat because of sex, but because I became depressed, and she is the type who has to look for a plan B immediately in case the relationship doesn't work out when she feels neglected. I guess it's a stupid thing to think about. I should trust my past experiences and myself, but what she did broke me in half. At least I'm very motivated to do better in life, much better. Update. Since my breakup, girls suddenly distancing themselves. Long story short, I had a breakup because my long-term GF cheated. I'm a good-looking guy, muscular, handsome, and not dumb at all. So I have all the good qualities, to say the least. Meanwhile, I was in a relationship with her. Basically most of the girls would give themselves to me on the spot. Since then I have the feeling the same girls started to distance themselves from me. It has been only a few weeks after the breakup. I know I can't be that well so shortly after such a hit, but I still have my needs. Am I overcomplicating, or is it something real? Why do I sense these girls losing interest now that I'm available? Update. My cheating ex is acting weird, and it seems she is trying to manipulate me against my parents. I've made a post already about what happened. I'm not trying to explain it over again. We separated. She moved back home to her parents. She cheated, at least emotionally. but I'm sure there was sex involved, but as far as I'm concerned it must have been bad. So, she tried in the first 2 weeks to get to me with things like, I have a few stuff of yours with me. I'm not going to salvage them. If you come here sometime then you can grab them, and stuff like that. Then I blocked her. After that she became cold with me of course. I had to talk with her about some things which includes both of us, because it needs to be done, and taken care of since we live together. There was already 2 occasions that she started to talk angry about my parents because they searched off her stuff and belongings, and even packed everything to her, which she wanted to leave in the trash. I get it, that it's frustrating. However, after weeks not talking today she started to say the same things about them. She wasn't calling them names or things like that, but she can't seem to accept that they packed her trash and send it to her, and stuff like that. I was working so they helped me get rid of her stuff. She said she is not angry with me, and she doesn't want to bother me with this stuff but I should know. Why, what does it matter? And she doesn't ever want to see them. It sounds like that she wants to see me, but not my parents anymore. I kept my calm and told her, I get it that she is angry, but holding anger just damages the person who holds it. I'm not angry on the matter, but I would have liked to understand everything much more clearly. To which she replied, it is what it is. My question would be, why does she keep so much anger towards my parents, and why does she says things like, she is not angry with me but she never wants to see my parents? What's her game? What could she win if she manipulates me against my parents? The only thing I can guess, that she knows I'm listening to them, and because of them, I didn't want to stay in contact with her. At least that's what she thinks. Even though she cheated, she had this big drama where she cried in front of her family, how she doesn't want to lose me, and she cried to me too, that she knows she made me full of spikes, but it's bad I won't allow her to love me. After her EA I could truly feel her love again, and the sex became great again, but I couldn't live with the fact. So I broke up with her. I guess I just want to understand it, and I'm second guessing myself, because what she did is based mostly on her traumatic childhood, avoidant, father problems, and as the relationship became problematic, she cut her emotions off. I know it's stupid, and I know I shouldn't give another chance for such a person. But for years she was my other half, my partner. We were great together. I just have no idea what she wins, acting like this. She could act completely cold, but what she does is not cold, rather looks angry. She is my first love as I'm hers. She never even had orgasm before me. And a part of me still believes things can be fixed. Because in my close family even some worse shit happened, and they stayed together, and it works. Update. Should I give her another chance? My GF of almost 6 years cheated. It was at least emotional cheating, but I'm sure it became physical too. After that she did all the right things, but I couldn't live with the fact. We are separated since a month or so. I blocked her everywhere. Because we live together we still have to talk about a few things. And I get this feeling that she is hurt and walking on eggshells with me too. Sometimes trying to talk to me in a little bit warmer and sometimes plays plain cold bitch. She cheated because she is weak. I know that. She was depressed. I was depressed. Our life became fucked up in an instant. But before that we had a beautiful relationship. Even when she left she told me she would wait for me, and she still has hope. Of course after I blocked her she changed her attitude quickly. I still want to believe we can repair what's broken. But I'm afraid at the same time that she doesn't have feelings anymore. Even though in the first 2 weeks after we broke up, she still clearly had feelings for me. She became cold after I blocked her, just as I stated before. I don't really know what to do. Everyone says of course I shouldn't give her another chance. But at the same time I understand the situation fully. And I'm the type who wants to work on things and not give up so easily. My anger is gone, my pain is gone, but I still do love her. Should I give another chance, or at least try talking to her to see if she still has feelings or something? Could this work? I know it must be a lot of work together, from both sides. She is my first love as I'm hers. It would be nice to sort things out and start anew. Second story. Experiences of success after repeat cheating lies in an initially fake commitment to her. I'm in need of some perspective and would love to hear about your experiences if anyone has been in a situation that even somewhat resembles mine. Very long story short, my husband of 12 years had an affair with a much younger woman at work. Didn't tell me and lied about it when asked, and left me because he said he hadn't been happy for a long time as I was too focused on work. A few months after the separation, I made him confess to the affair, and he told me he had started seeing his AP again after our separation. But it wasn't serious and he wanted to get back together and try to fix our marriage, so we did. It has not been easy, and it's been clear that he has shifted back and forth from being happy and in love to wondering if it was the right decision to get back together. And all this has kept me in a constant state of panic and hypervigilance, and sent me spiraling regularly, especially as he still works with his AP. Long story short, things were starting to feel better. We had gotten MC going and there were much less bad moments. And then a month ago he acted strange after a work trip, and confessed that he had felt something for his AP during the trip, and told her about it when they were drunk. In a moment of impulsiveness, I called the AP, and although she didn't want to tell me much, it became clear that what my WH had told me wasn't the whole story. After a few hours of denial, he confessed that he had slept with her during the trip, and that it had happened once before since we got back together. He basically said that he hadn't gotten over her even though he thought he had. Apparently the AP is quite upset with him because during my phone call with her, she realized that she'd had a false idea of our relationship and situation, and felt that my WH had been misleading her too. Obviously, things were not great between us after this. But suddenly a week ago something shifted and we act like we're in love again. Talk about our plans for the future, etc. Of course I'm quite sure that bad periods will follow, and that it's not like everything is magically fixed now. Not by a long shot. Like so many here, I've gone from trusting him 100% and being sure he'd never lie, cheat or even let me down in any way, to thinking he had made a mistake, and then felt so guilty he had to lie about it, to realizing that he's lied often and systematically, and cheated again, even after knowing how the first time completely broke me. I frankly can't fathom the fact that all this has happened, and that I'm still here, and I can't help but wonder where I'd be right now if instead of trickle truths, I would have had all the facts to base my decisions on. Which brings me to my questions. Has any BP in this group come back from a situation as bad as ours, as in somewhat restoring trust, not growing resentful, and wanting revenge when the dust has settled and you're out of the panic phase where you're just too weak to be able to let go? Are there any WWs in this group who were initially as conflicted as my WH? Who didn't immediately come out of the affair fog and were initially pretending their commitment to our, but who eventually realized what they had done, experienced real remorse and honestly committed to our? Third story. Am I too bad for divorcing my wife after she thought I was lying about being raped as a child? I 27M and my wife 26F have been married for 2 years and have been together for 6. As context, I was repeatedly raped by my brother's babysitter when I was around 9. She would grope me, force me to remove my pants and then either stick my dick in her mouth or try and give me a hand job whenever my 4-year-old brother slept. Most of the time I was paralyzed and couldn't do anything to stop it. She would always buy me sweets or video games for my D's as a reward. So in a weird way I started growing attached to her and would try and seek the abuse if it meant getting her rewards. I knew whatever she was doing was wrong, but she would always threaten to take my life if I ever told my parents, so I never did while the abuse was actively happening. Everything stopped as soon as she graduated college and moved states. I only realized how fucked up the things she did to me were when I was around 14/15 and understood the concept of consent. When I tried to open up to my parents, strict Catholics, it never ended well. First they blamed it on porn and claimed it corrupted my mind into imagining these things happening to me. If I claimed I was telling the truth, my dad would beat the shit out of me and my mom would ground me. I tried opening up to my friends but their reactions weren't any better. My male friends just called me lucky and asked if the BJ was good. My female friends claimed I was just lying to get attention and laughed in my face. I learned to just try and forget the past and vowed to myself that I would never mention this to anyone again. Now on to last week. Me and my wife had heard some good things about this show called Baby Reindeer on Netflix from our friends. Going into it, I knew it revolved around sexual abuse and stalking. In my mind, I thought I was over the past and I could handle watching the show no problem. Big fucking mistake. At the end of episode 4, I was literally on the verge of tears, and I felt all the supposedly forgotten memories come flooding back. At the end of the next episode I couldn't hold it in anymore. My wife paused the show and just stared at me. After a while I did finally manage to calm down a bit. She asked me why I was crying and I just let everything out. She said she was sorry, hugged me, and we went to bed soon after. I apologized to her the following morning for ruining our night. From the moment I let her know about the abuse, I felt something change in our relationship. No more kisses when I came back from work, and no more initiating anything intimate from her side. She wasn't mean or anything, but I felt like something was bothering her. I tried to apologize for maybe making her uncomfortable, but she would just claim there was nothing bothering her, and I was just being paranoid. Yesterday me and my wife got into a pretty heated argument about her lying about taking out the trash. But during the argument she said something that floored me beyond belief. She literally said, "At least I'm not lying about being raped, you fucking narcissist." I literally couldn't process whatever just came out of her mouth. She tried apologizing right after saying that, but I just packed a few clothes and left to stay at my friend's house. She tried calling me several times since, but I haven't bothered picking up and have blocked her for time being. I know I might have trauma dumped on her, and I know women aren't into that, but I just want some sort of acknowledgement, support. I don't have anyone left to turn to with this, and that's why I'm posting here. I've had 2 therapists to date and both didn't seem to help much. I'm gut is telling me to divorce her, but she's genuinely the love of my life. Throwing away 6 years because of this one moment doesn't sit right with me, but IDK. Am I too bad for divorcing her? Am I actually the asshole here? I would love to hear some of your guys' opinions on my situation, and if you've read this all the way through, thank you. 4th story. GF cheated on me days after my birthday. I apologize for the poor English, pretty stressed ATM. So a bit of backstory. I am 24, have been with my GF 23 for the last 3 years. For the majority it has been a very good relationship. This all changed after I noticed that she was being more secretive around her phone while messaging this guy friend she has. I don't have an issue with my GF having male friends, however my GF and this guy have a history not long before the start of our relationship. And it's only been the last couple of months they have talked. I work away Monday to Friday, and on the Tuesday night, she told me she wasn't in the mood to talk, which is not like her at all. My birthday was at the start of that week. So with that and the strange way she's been acting, I'm ashamed to have admit it, but I checked her phone. What I found is that as soon as she said she wasn't in the mood to talk, she was talking to this guy for the rest of that night on Snap. I don't know what they said because it was all Snap photos, as well as seeing that she had searched up "should I break up with my BF," and I'm in a long-term relationship. But I have developed stronger feelings for someone else. After seeing this, I decided to confront her to ask her what was going on here, and that I don't find what she is doing is appropriate. This turned into an argument that resulted in her saying she wants some space. I complied to that and went back to my parents. During this time we had very little contact, and on one of the nights, she told me that her and a male friend of hers were now on good terms, and that she was having a drink with him that night. That was the last I heard of her that night. It wasn't till the next day that I heard from her again. Not too sure what it was, but after that I had a sinking feeling in my gut, and when I went back up to grab my things and have a talk, I then proceeded to check her laptop when I was at work due to my bad gut feeling. What I found is that she had ordered the emergency after pill. She says it was for a friend. I proceeded to send her the photos of this, and she immediately left work while I was prepping to leave, and she claims that it's for her friend. However, the friend she said it was for hasn't been around hers for the last 2 weeks. Sorry if it's a bit long. Just wanted to vent and get this off my chest. I feel like I keep justifying her in my head even though I know this is wrong. Fifth story. Did I have an emotional affair? My GF, 39F, snooped through my 45M DMs and read my messages to my ex-wife. We have an agreement that it's okay to communicate with our exes, and she regularly hangs out and frequently texts one of her exes. She's accusing me of having an emotional affair. I do not feel any kind of attraction or desire to be in a relationship with my ex-wife, but I would like to be friends with her. I have told my GF this, and she has told me she supports that goal, and that it's okay to communicate with my ex-wife. She has an ex of her own she's good friends with, and they actually hang out about once per week. I haven't seen my ex-wife in over a year, and probably for 3 years before that. My ex-wife says she shares that goal of becoming my friend, but, as it is, we barely communicate and the relationship is very difficult. Our texts are mostly animal pictures, videos, because we both like animals. About once a month I'll try to check in to try to see how she's doing. She gives me vague answers in return. But my girlfriend found just a couple of messages where I was trying to be vulnerable to get something more than barely communicating. In particular, my girlfriend was very troubled by these phrases. I miss you all the time, and on her birthday I said you're in my heart and mind. There's another where I say there are few people I can talk about XYZ with. My girlfriend is livid and says this is emotional cheating. I can understand why my language may have been a little too sentimental and familiar for the new context of our relationship. I should certainly fix that. I wouldn't want my GF to feel like my attempts to be friends with my ex are a barrier to our relationship. So I have already communicated to my ex-wife that I'm no longer going to be communicating with her beyond family news and major life events. My GF is my priority. I showed my GF the message. I've also communicated to my GF that I would completely cut off communication if that's what she needed. She says it's too late and I violated the foundation of our relationship. Did I have an emotional affair? Is there anything I can do to fix this? Sixth story. She cheated with a co-worker, and she made me feel crazy for raising suspicions. 1 month ago, my girlfriend, 5 years together, we own a house together, told me she does not really like our relationship anymore. She told me it became stale and she doesn't feel desired anymore. She told me she doesn't know if we would be together forever anymore. While I agreed that the relationship was not as fun anymore, I still think that we were fine. A week later, she told me that she had developed a work crush in the last months. Let's call him Kevin. She told me that nothing ever happened. She told me about a conversation they had after work where he told him that there is something between them and that it needs to stop. I asked my girlfriend to stop seeking contact with Kevin, except for professional work-related tasks. In the weeks after, she promised me that everything was over after that conversation with Kevin. The feelings had stopped. I believed her. However, of course I kept asking her if they still had contact. She assured me that that was not the case. These questions from me really annoyed her. She told me that if I keep asking these questions our relationship cannot really improve. We had Find My Friends on our iPhones, where we can see each other's locations. I know many people's opinion on that, but that doesn't matter. On one night, after her work, she stopped sharing her location. I asked her about this, and she told me it must have been her internet connection. I doubted that, since the messages I had sent her still went through. I must have asked 100 times what happened that night, but she said nothing happened. In the next days I was really feeling paranoid. She found this very annoying. I told her I was just not trusting her fully anymore. She said that nothing weird was happening anymore. I was starting to doubt myself. I must be crazy for suspecting her. 2 days ago, she was crying. I asked what was up and she told me that she had kissed Kevin the day before, in the office when everyone on her floor had left. Note that this was a different day than the day she put her Find My Friend's location off. She apologized so many times. She assured me that this was the first time that something like this had happened. She said that she has not ever even touched him before that moment. She promises me that they never had sex. She also confessed that they had sought contact with each other, even though she had promised not to do that anymore. Apparently they have had phone calls after work in their cars when driving home. Afterwards she has deleted these calls from her call history. Keep in mind that I had asked many times if they still had contact, and it always made her annoyed on me. I then asked her what happened at night when she put her location off. She assured me that that was really not the case, and nothing happened. She told me that she now really has told me everything. Yesterday she came out and said that was also a lie. She had a long conversation on the parking lot on the phone with him. She put her location off as not to cause suspicion in me. But the worst part is that she made me feel like I'm crazy. Like I was seeing things that were not there. That she got angry when I told her my suspicions. She got angry when I kept asking if she had still seen him. Yes, she told me directly when she had kissed him. However, there has been a lot of drip feeding the truth afterwards. She promises me now that everything is on the table, but I don't know if I can believe her anymore. Of course, she now wants to fix everything. She says we can fix it together. She's really sorry and promised not to talk to him anymore. Kevin is going to a different work location after next week, and they will not be working together anymore. She assured me she really regrets it and is crying about what she's done to me. At the same time, she's also saying this might not have happened if I would have made her feel more desired. I'm doubting what to do. She wants to know if I still want to be with her. I cannot tell her. My mind says I should leave, but I don't want to. I told her I cannot decide this right now, I will only know after a while. Moreover, we own a house together. She has a lot of own equity in the house, around 50%, and the other 50% is our mortgage. I feel like I will get financially gutted by quitting this relationship. I need some outside views on this. I never thought I would experience anything like this. I'm really devastated. My girlfriend kissed a coworker in the office. I had suspicions for a while, but she got mad when I raised those. Now all these suspicions seem to be true. They did not have sex. We own a house together. We are leaving for vacation next week.